my name is Yosha Ganasekera, and I'm a JD candidate from Penn Law.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sherlyn Lim, and I'm a Master of Social Work candidate at the School of Social Policy and Practice.
Hello, my name is Laura Buckley. I'm a Master of Social Work candidate at the School of Social Policy and Practice.
And I'm Sabrina Maynard. I'm a Master of Public Administration candidate at the Fells Institute of Government. And together we are BetterBAIL. We all have backgrounds in criminal justice issues, and we've seen firsthand how the Philadelphia prison system is costly, overcrowded, and difficult to navigate. We propose that Philadelphia County adopt an online bail payment system. This would constitute a small tweak with a big impact and would make it easier for inmates' loved ones to pay their bail. While we recognize that this is not a panacea for the system, it is a tangible start. The extent to which the Philadelphia prison system is costly and overcrowded is well documented. In December 2013, there were nearly 8,600 inmates in the Philadelphia prison system. 5,400 of these inmates are held pre-trial, meaning they've been arrested but have not yet been convicted of a crime. Of this pool of pre-trial individuals, about 1,700 or 30% are held on bail, meaning a judge has granted them bail, but they've been unable to pay it, so they must sit in prison while they await trial. Many of them could avoid this pre-trial detention period if they could simply manage to post their bail. Our proposal focuses on reducing this segment of the prison population. We seek to do this by streamlining processes through an alternative method of payment, not to change the bail guidelines. Philadelphia's 5-year plan identifies pretrial population reduction as a priority, so we seek to assist the city in this aim. The current bail system in Philadelphia is outdated. It requires in-person payments to be made in Center City or in Northeast Philadelphia. So loved ones who seek to pay bail must take off from work, brave hostile weather conditions, take long journeys, and wait in long lines, all to make a simple bail payment. We propose that Philadelphia adopt an online bail payment alternative. This would make it much easier for inmates' loved ones to pay their bail. I want to pause for a moment to address public safety. It may sound like we're trying to make it easier for individuals who've been arrested to leave prison. I want to stress that we are not proposing a change to the bail guidelines. Judges will continue to grant bail the same way they always have. Our aim is to streamline the process through an alternative payment method, not to change the guidelines. So individuals who are not granted bail by a judge will not be eligible to use our system. It currently costs $114 to house one inmate for one night. So we're spending $71.6 million a year to house bail-eligible pretrial inmates. This is unsustainable, particularly in light of the budget deficit. General fund spending on prisons has increased 28% since fiscal year 2006. This money constitutes an allocation from the general fund of taxpayer money, which is allocated at the discretion of city council and the mayor. If the money were to be freed from its use housing inmates, it could be allocated in ensuing fiscal years for alternative purposes, like sanitation, other public safety initiatives, or deficit reduction. By our preliminary estimates using data from another Pennsylvania county that has adopted this technology, Philadelphia could have saved nearly $2.2 million in 2013 with online bail. But more on that later. Numbers only say so much, so we held focus groups in order to better understand the human face of this issue. My teammate Laura will outline some key takeaways from that process.
Thanks to Philadelphia Fight's Institute for Community Justice, a local reentry services program, we were able to talk to a convenient sample of individuals with a history of incarceration. We reached more than 40 men and women through focus groups, in-depth interviews, and surveys. These are our results. 66% said they had challenges posted bail in Philadelphia County. According to our sample, the 3 biggest challenges that directly relate to the in-person process of bail payment are: the process is slow, the journey is taxing, and many individuals have no family in Philadelphia. But our sample suggests online bail would help solve many of these challenges, including quickening the current slow process. 73% think they would have been released earlier if online bail payment were an option. Online bail payment also saves individuals taxing journeys. One participant who suffers from HIV and a lung disease detailed her arduous journey to post bail for her arrested husband. She said, I was sick at the time. I had to go all the way downtown with his money, sit and wait on this enormous line just to pay the bail. And I got real sick, even sicker because it was wintertime, and I ended up in the hospital. We asked her what she thought about online bail. Paying online would have been really convenient for me, and it would have been better for my health. Finally, online bail helps those arrested who have no family nearby. One individual whose family is from New Jersey spent nearly 1 year in prison. He said, "The bail was $110 with the paperwork at that time, but I couldn't pay the bail. I didn't have the money." His New Jersey family was unable to help. They would not come here. I wouldn't even ask them. But would he ask his New Jersey family to post bail online? He said, yeah, it's convenient. This sentiment was echoed as 76% say a family member who lives outside of Philadelphia County would post bail for them online. But perhaps the most significant takeaway from our research is the affirmation that an online bail payment system is likely to be utilized. 79% said they would post bail online if it were an option. My teammate Sabrina will now outline other ways our proposal will have a big impact.
As outlined earlier, BetterBAIL constitutes a small tweak with a big impact. It's basic, it's intuitive, and it's great for Philadelphia. It's basic. The Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts already has a system in place for counties that seek to adopt online bail. I will henceforth refer to them as AOPC. The system has been implemented in 4 other counties in Pennsylvania thus far. But Chester County is the only county for which a full year's worth of data is available. So we use their transaction data in order to estimate a rate of use in Philadelphia. Using Chester's transaction data, we determined that the number of online bail transactions in Chester amounted to about 36% of their December 2013 prison population, for a savings of nearly $300,000. If you take that rate and apply it in Philadelphia, Philadelphia could have saved nearly $2.2 million in 2013. It is worth noting that Chester County did not do any publicity surrounding the adoption of this proposal. Individuals in the Chester County Clerk's Office and at AOPC indicated that they thought the rate of use was low because people did not know about it. We can grow these savings with our targeted outreach campaign. We have a plan to produce and distribute English and Spanish brochures that outline the bail payment process. These will be placed in the hands of relevant court administrators, attorneys, social workers, and other relevant community leaders. So our role is to take these savings farther. Our proposal is also intuitive. Prior to our involvement in this competition, the city had been unaware that online bail was an option, and now they are very interested. In fact, an official in the Public Safety Office called our proposal, quote, a no-brainer. Similarly, our proposal aligns with other Nutter administration tech innovations to better connect citizens with their city government. Most notably, it's a great way to make use of key spot facilities, which are internet access centers in low-income and underserved communities in Philadelphia. Technically, it costs the city of Philadelphia nothing to adopt this technology. We need $15,000 for our targeted outreach campaign and $10,500 to cover 3 months' worth of full-time consulting for one of our team members during the implementation process. This will involve working with the brochure vendor, helping the city update its website, collecting and analyzing transaction data, and conducting trainings for a total outlay of $25,500. But this represents a return on investment of $85 for every $1 spent on implementation. Lastly, our proposal is generally great for Philadelphia. It's worth considering that a mere 5% reduction in the daily bail-eligible pretrial population would save $3.5 million a year. A 10% reduction would mean $7 million in savings, and a 15% reduction would mean $10.5 million in savings. And these numbers do not account for the human costs associated with the current system. Our research shows that numerous parties in Philadelphia will benefit from online bail. It will return arrested individuals to their communities and their families. It will increase the use of sustainable technology initiatives. It will foster efficiency in a sustainable manner and will do it all while saving serious taxpayer dollars. Once again, BetterBAIL constitutes a small tweak with a big impact. It's basic, it's intuitive, and it's great for Philadelphia. We do not seek to change bail guidelines. We simply seek to improve the process through an alternative method of payment. With our help, online bail in Philadelphia will have a measurable impact on families and communities and the greater Philadelphia population. Thank you.
So if I were to start out the questioning, as one of the comments says, no-brainer. So I assume that the in-person bail sign-up is still available. I see. So where do you see is the objection or resistance? Just the inability of the bureaucrats to accommodate something that is as easy as that?
Thank you for your question. We believe BetterBAIL does have many benefits. Pushback could come from prison employees who would face reduced overtime as a result of this proposal because they'll be spending less time in jails because the pretrial population will go down. So that is a potential area. Many people actually see that as a benefit because it is saving taxpayer dollars. But the city of Philadelphia has, as we noted, was not even aware of this proposal. And unfortunately, Philadelphia, this is a bureaucratic issue, and so it has to go through so many channels. We believe that we're vital in advocating for this important program, as well as using publicity to really push this forward, because in the other 4 counties that have implemented this, it's really underutilized, and which is why we're essential to really hand out those brochures, do our targeted publicity campaign, and really reach out to individuals and do trainings. Thank you.
And just to add to that, I think the amazing thing and the beauty of our proposal is that we are leveraging on an existing system. So AOPC already has a system for us to be part of. And so we're excited to let Philadelphia just be part of this online bail payment system.
And have you surveyed nationally or even in Pennsylvania, which other counties have this online facility available?
Yes, definitely. In our research, so we found that there are 4 counties that have this current online bail payment system. So it's Erie, Westmoreland, Delaware, as well as Chester. Yeah, yeah. So these are the 4 counties that already have this in place. As highlighted by my teammate, one thing that they are lacking is publicity. That's why our proposal, we're really strong in advocating that we have a targeted outreach campaign to make sure that this system is known.
And what was the experience of those counties where for example, the resistance of the unions about the lessening of overtime? What was the reaction there?
I think in terms of resistance, actually, the people that we spoke to spoke very positively about this system. So I'm not sure whether they have actually gotten any negative feedback about the system.
No, from the unions. I thought you suggested earlier that they are more worried about lowering their overtime.
I think that was one of the potential resistance that we saw, but in speaking to our contacts in the various counties, it wasn't raised at all. This wasn't an issue raised at all. Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, yesterday I asked you, I was just dumbfounded as an attorney that this hadn't been mandated. Judges love to mandate, and you have a consolidated court system of some type, and I can't imagine some legislator or some city councilman hasn't looked and saw this. The thing that I would encourage you to do is, after you get this idea implemented, since you all have a background in this area, if you found this, I mean, there's got to be enough money savings. I don't want to encourage you to go into consulting. I think they're too young for that right now. Don't you, Bill? But I would encourage you to look at other things, because if you found this significant savings, and I can't imagine why they wouldn't just jump at the chance to save money, there's got to be many other things that with your backgrounds that you can save. And I would hope you would continue, after you get this implemented, to look in other areas.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think what's also particularly exciting about this is that this could really become an integral part of Philadelphia's criminal justice system and could easily provide best practices for the rest of Pennsylvania. So.
Yeah. just a few years ago, and I'm sure, they started doing the initial hearings and all by remote cameras and all, so that way they don't have to transport people from jails into the courtroom. It's a safety factor, a cost factor, and this just is a natural segue.
Yeah, and I would, in Virginia, we've spent an awful lot of time looking at alternatives to incarceration, and particularly pre-release programs, and trying to do something about reducing the jail population, but never once have we had the situation where someone has come in and said, well, wait a minute, why are they still in jail waiting trial? And so I do believe there is a huge opportunity for something like this there. But I do question the potential savings as being as large as they are. You're talking, by the way, if you're charging if your costs are $114 a night per inmate, give me a call, we'll do it for $58 a night. And we got some space in Virginia.
He's a consultant.
But for $114 a night, just because that person's not going to be there doesn't mean you're going to save $114. You've got the whole booking, you've got the whole capital facility, you've got the security system, you've got an awful lot of overhead costs built in that $114. So what you're really going to save is the variable rate, which is probably going to be the food and medical. Medical probably be pretty big savings in many cases. So has anyone else questioned the actual savings? Because you don't save $71 million by shutting the jail down.
Right. So the only year for which this data is available is 2012, a full breakdown of exactly how the prison money is being spent. But 55% of that $114 figure goes to cover the cost of the corrections officers. So certainly there would be a compartmentalized factor to that. Just by reducing one prisoner, we wouldn't automatically be saving that cost. So the hope is over the long term that would be more substantial. About 40% of that $114 figure does go to variable costs for the individual inmates, and that remaining cost is vague program overhead. So that seems like it would be pretty consistent, regardless of individual reductions in the prison population. So certainly the more we can get more people, pretrial individuals out, the greater the cost savings would be.
And I would also like to note that if we're able to get the aggregate number of pretrial inmates low enough, we'll be able to, along with one of the mayor's stated initiatives, is close one of the oldest prisons in Philadelphia. So in the aggregate, I think it really could have the potential to even save more down the road if we're able to close some of these facilities and really redirect these costs towards things like education and other really important, vital human costs in Philadelphia.
At the heart of the matter, as I see it, is being able to use technology for the simplest issues or problems that we have. And state and local government have been generally slow in adopting technology for a variety of reasons, as you suggested. And immediately what came to my mind was the whole idea of toll collection. And we have Easy Pass, and you have several lanes available. So if you have Easy Pass, you can just walk through, drive through, and then otherwise, if you really want to see the guy who collects the money and shake hand with him, give him the money. So I think this is eminently feasible, and that I cannot imagine that this is not practiced nationwide.
Thank you for that. Philadelphia has a robust electronic payment system for parking tickets to water bills and all sorts of things. And what's actually most analogous to online bail it's commissary. So commissary is a convenience store inside a correctional facility where inmates can purchase products from hygiene items like a toothbrush to clothing and shower shoes. But the only way that inmate has the funds to do that is when a loved one or a family member outside uses posts funds to that account using a debit or credit card online. So this, which is kind of exactly analogous to having a loved one or family member outside posting bail online. So there is absolutely this great synergy with things going online, particularly in the criminal justice system, to online bail.
Can you talk a little bit more about your education plan and the dissemination? Because it seems like a lot of the savings will be realized only if the family members get this information sort of right away and are able to post bail much sooner online than they would in person. So can you talk about that?
So thank you for your question. So we just want to emphasize that our outreach campaign is very targeted, meaning that we're going to reach out to individuals who interact with arrested individuals and their families. So what this means is that we will be reaching out to people like social workers, organizations that work with arrested individuals. We'll be actually having this training component, and we'll be training them about the bail payment process as well as online bail payment. So we'll let them know both alternatives. And through that, we hope that they can also pass on this information. The beauty of our proposal really is that it's a self-perpetuating mechanism. Once someone knows about it, they pass it on, soon the whole of Philadelphia will know about our online bail payment system. So that's our outreach campaign.
And we really want it to be something that is kind of integral and intuitive. After our 3 months of implementation, we want people to just know through word of mouth and through these shareholders. And one of the most fantastic things about our proposal is over the past couple of months that we've been working on it, we've really reached out to so many different individuals in the community. We've reached out to the Public Defenders Organization, which is one of the largest organizations that represents indigent criminal individuals. And they're very interested. I've spoken to attorneys there. I've spoken to other criminal defense attorneys. I've spoken to potential court officials who are thinking that maybe we can even have bailiffs who basically run the court proceedings, work in conjunction with judges to hand out these brochures, So there's so many individuals in Philadelphia who are really willing to disseminate the information in addition to social workers and other organizations. So it's really something that we really have the community already on board with, and we just need the additional funding and the additional push of our team to really see it into reality.
I mentioned yesterday, and I'd encourage again, and I know, Sabrina, you mentioned at the beginning, mentioning that you're not changing bail, that you're merely changing the way they pay it, because I know this city has a long history on tough law and order. I think you had a mayor named Rizzo years ago that was kind of a unique individual. I'll leave it at that. But I think that's real important. And another thing you might do, as I was sitting here, once you figure out what the savings is, because unless someone has an incarcerated family member, absent them not seeing that savings, they're not going to be too excited about it. But if you can, whoever your champion is on this can say you're going to target that money to something. You use parks as an example, where you're saving money and it's going to something that benefits all of society rather than just going back to that department's budget. That might generate some more support.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. I think the cost-saving component is huge, but to your point about the more human costs, actually, like what I found in the focus groups when I was speaking with individuals who have a history of incarceration and their family members, they were actually very excited about it. Sure, like they don't feel the $114, but they feel their loved ones' homes. They feel their loved ones' homes very much. And that I think for me is like what drives me and like my passion behind it is that absolutely getting family members who are pre-trial and bail eligible home with their family and their children and their loved ones sooner, like they will feel that impact as well.
And I raised this question yesterday as well, but bail bondsmen are very, very well connected, especially with legislators and policymakers, only second to tow truck operators. I still don't think I quite understand what the role of bail bondsmen would be in this. I do know bail bondsmen pay the bond when the family can't afford it, but they certainly have a role in here, if not an opportunity in here, to provide a service for the family. And can you explain that?
Definitely.
They certainly can kill your proposal.
Well, thank you for your question. And I think it's actually very interesting because three of the four of you are not from Pennsylvania, Indiana, Virginia, and D.C. representing. And actually, the system works quite differently in Philadelphia than it does in other states. So in Philadelphia, the court system itself almost acts as a quasi-bail bonds person because in Philadelphia, to get out on bail, you only have to pay 10% out of your total bail. Now, let's take Virginia, for example. In Virginia, you can do a money bond, which means the individual either has to pay 100% of their bail, which is, if it's $100,000, it's just not conceivable. So they can do the 10% option, but that has to be through a bail bonds person. In Philadelphia, you bypass that system. So it's actually a much smaller subset of the population than you would think in Philadelphia that's actually using that system. And those are generally for people who, again, as you stated, can't pay their bail. It's a little bit different since we're working with the mechanism of how to pay bail. We don't necessarily address directly individuals who cannot pay bail. So it actually is a very unique system in Philadelphia compared to other states that may have these concerns.